Hi, in today's video I would like to give you a rundown of how I create backing tracks for my guitar playthrough videos using only free plugins and VSTis, so you can download everything I mention in the description below. I'm going to focus on drums and bass, and let's jump right into the mix so you can hear what to expect. Okay, step 1. Find a good guitar profile that has everything tabbed. Download it and export it as MIDI. Import it into your DAW, and now you have the tempo tracks and all instruments as separate tracks. Delete everything else except for bass and drums. And we're right where we begin. I'm going to focus on drums first. So I'm using the Perfect Drums player by Naughty Seal Audio. You can download it for free on the perfectdrums.com. You need the player and you need the full kit demo. Once you've downloaded the two, you can load the kit by clicking on this and go to Load Sample Kit and choose Perfect Kit 1 Demo. Once you've loaded this in, this is how your drums will sound like with any of the post-processing. This gives you the option to use multi-outs, so you can process snare, bass, drum, and toms separately. But for the simplicity of this video, I chose not to. I am only working on the stereo signal that I'm getting out of this sampler. So the first thing I usually focus on is transients. Listen to the snare. And now with transients worked on, so you can hear it has a smack now. The low wave SpikeQ is perfect for finding the sweet spot for your snare. I'm boosting 750 and 2000 hertz, and it just gives it more presence in the mix. The next thing I'm using is the SweetDrums by Analog Obsession, which gets rid of the high-end on cymbals. I don't like high-end cymbals. So notice that there will be a volume drop, but don't mind it in this case. Yeah. Next thing is I'm reintroducing some high-end, but the kind of high-end that you like. So for this reason, I'm using an exciter by FineCutBodies, which is named Le Petite Excite. Hopefully I pronounced this right. With it turned off, it sounds like this. And with it turned on, yeah. And the next thing is fairly new to me. It's the BX subfilter by Plugin Alliance that reintroduces some low end. So take a listen to the kick especially. So it's in your chest kick now. Be aware that introducing low end can be quite dangerous, so don't overdo it. Especially on the mastering side of things, you don't want really a lot of low end because it will really screw with your loudness. And the last plugin I'm using is the W1 limiter, so I can get a certain level of that it just doesn't exceed. So at minus 8.5 decibel. Now focus on bass. I'm using a free VSTi instrument for Contact called Hardy Bass, and you can download it. It's a fairly small studio, Oomind studio, but they've decided to release this for free, and I really like how it sounds. This is how it sounds dry. I'm just going to show you this without my processing. Very clean, no distortion on it, just really clean bass samples. You could either render this, so you can work with like a rendered version of it, or you could go the way I did. I used routing. And this is very interesting. I disabled the master sense, so I don't hear the eye track that is coming out of this contact instrument. And I'm sending it to two separate channels, bass high and bass low, which I'm processing in the bass group. So let's focus on the low end first. For this reason, I'm using a low pass filter. Anything below 500 hertz will be processed. I'm using the fantastic BOD by TSA Audio, just to give it some kind of flavor, a preamp flavor. And I'm using the NadIR to load a dark glass impulse response. So this is how the low end sounds like. Yeah, low end. Let's focus on the high end. I'm processing everything above 500 hertz, and I'm using the Greed Smasher by Mercuriall. I just like how it sounds on bass. I know it's not meant to be used on bass, but it just really works well. So this is how it sounds without it. And with it turned on, yeah, it gives it the kind of dingwall sound, dark glass sound. It works. It's a modern sounding bass. So next up, I'm using the BOD again with the drive fully cranked and another dark glass impulse response. And I'm also sending this into a bass group. So I can glue together the two frequencies in this case. With it turned off, it sounds like this. And with it turned on. So this is my favorite plugin on bass groups. It's the Bass Professor Mark II. And you can control various aspects of a low end, which I like. With it turned off. With it turned on. And I'm also using the BX subfilter to get a really clean low end into the mix. With it turned off. And with it turned on. And I'm using the W1 limiter again at roughly twice the volume drops as the drums, so at minus 19 dB. So together they sound something like this. Yeah, this is perfectly usable in a mix. You could technically use side chaining to use the kick and the bass so they don't interfere, but it really works well in this case. I really didn't need to process it any further. So if you want to hear how I processed guitars, let me know and I will create a separate video, but this is now finished. Bass and drums are done. Let me know what you think in the comments. And here's just a little snippet of a breakdown because I like it, so you can listen to it.